Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jordan Davis Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, and on today's episode, we got a couple of Star Wars topics to talk about that I really want to discuss today. I think a couple of them would be very interesting to talk about. One of them is the rumor of how the Rise of Skywalker may start and revealing what a major aspect of this movie is. And also, I really wanted to talk about Leia and Ben. I want to talk about just how I think Leia's love for Ben's mother, will be important into his turning into his resurrection mostly. So I really want to talk about that because I don't think I've really talked about how I think that Leia's love for him in this movie is going to be important to his arc. So yeah, let's get right into it. If you haven't heard, there has been a bunch of rumors, a bunch of leaks for the last couple of weeks for the Rise of Skywalker, coming from making Star Wars, the the website. In the recent one, talking about how, how the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker starts. So I'm gonna say in my own words in the whole website, but you can check it out on makingstarwars.com if you want to check it out for yourself. But essentially, how it starts, with the whole crawl and the whole pan down to a planet, it actually starts off with a flashback with Leia and Luke after the return of the Jedi, having some Jedi training, specifically lightsaber training. That we see them, doing the whole lightsaber kind of thing that I think we've always wanted to see after the return of the Jedi. See her doing some force training, some Jedi training, all that kind of stuff. And after the whole fight and after they stop training, Leia tells Luke she's pregnant. She's become a mother. And that's when Luke finally realized that the galaxy would never be the same because BenSolo is coming. There was also another tidbit in that article and information that this movie, at least the big aspect of the movie, the big importance of the movie, is to save Ben Solo and to bring Rey into the fold. So let's just think about everything that is. Now, how this movie starts. I would really like that. I would really like to see a flashback because I don't think we've ever seen a flashback, the start of a movie in Star Wars. Now, I could be completely wrong. I would have to look and check, but I don't believe that a flashback has started off a Star Wars movie. So in that itself is really interesting and really new, especially for JJ to do, because I truly believe JJ is gonna be experimenting things, and he even said that because of what Ryan Johnson did in The Last Jedi, he's gonna change some things up, and I'm excited to see that really, and I'm excited what exactly is he changing, what risks is he doing in this movie? Because I think we're still gonna get that normal J.J. Abrams storytelling that we all love. It's fast, it's brisk, you get right into it, and I like that. And that's one of the things I like about J.J. Abrams movies. If you go back to the Star Trek and all the other movies that he's done, including Mission Impossible and The Force Awakens, it's really wastes no time, get into that action and really get into what the story is all about. And I think that's a great way, especially with a flashback, to really show you the connection of Leia and Ben. Because there was some past rumors about of a young Leia, Han, and Luke, and a young Ben, taking him to Luke so he would do his Jedi training. But I think this would be a better option to do. If this is true, I don't know if this is true. Like I've always say, take it with a grain of salt. Anything can change. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of these leaks can be false than true. They mainly are, considering with Star Wars and especially with The Last Jedi. So I think with really showing us this Jedi training between brother and sister and really telling the beginnings of Ben Solo coming to this world and just how Luke even knew he had a feeling that however Ben Solo would turn out, he would change the galaxy forever. And I think that's pretty cool to show. Then after that, just go straight into the current timeline, straight into the movie. And I really wanted to point out something about less information about article of BenSolo being a major point in this movie, saving BenSolo specifically and bringing Rey into the fold. Now that can mean many things, but I truly believe they're talking about BenSolo's redemption. I don't know if they're gonna bring him back to the light, because I don't think he can totally come back to the light. That's just my opinion. I think he will turn away from the bad decisions that he's been making, but I truly believe that saving BenSolo and bringing Rey into the fold is really, towards the end, it will make sense, and bringing them together, because I truly believe there's going to be a lot of special moments in this movie, and I think one of those will be that flashback and really showing how happy Leia was when she was with child with BenSolo. And I think that'd be an interesting way to start, and I'm all for it if it's true. And I'm all for, as you all know who listen to this podcast, I'm all for BenSolo's redemption. I'm all for him living and being redeemed, because it just fits the message of Star Wars so perfectly. Actually, Ben Solo's arc is a perfect representation of the message of Star Wars. Because I say Star Wars is about hope, love, family, and redemption. Those are the four big things that Star Wars is. And I think that just ultimately surrounds what Ben Solo's arc is and what it will be at the end. And bringing Rey into the fold, I think it's going to be something special. It's going to be something unique. Now, I don't know what we're going to get between them at the very end, because no one knows. No one truly knows. But I think it's going to be a special moment that will be satisfying. Like everyone else in the cast and crew is saying, it will be satisfying. We just don't know how satisfying. So that's going to be an interesting thing to think about. Now, let's get to the topic about Leia and Ben. We talked about a little bit of how the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker and how it may start, of those rumors. And I was thinking about this last week about what that relationship could be in the Rise of Skywalker. Because I truly believe if Carrie Fisher never died, I would believe Leia would have had a lot more screen time. Because they've always said The Force Awakens was Han's movie, The Last Jedi was Luke's movie, and I truly believe The Rise of Skywalker would have been Leia's movie and would be very important to Ben Solo's redemption. I have no doubt about that. So, what could they do with the footage that they have, and how could they really make that satisfying? I think you could do a couple of things. I think you could really show just how much she misses Ben and how much she wants him to come home. Because they're really told in The Force Awakens how much light she still believes is in him. And she's right. There is still light in it. Because if you go back and look at the Snoke comic that was released last week, he had no problem killing Luke. But when it came to his parents, he could barely kill even a vision of his parents. That's why when he killed his father, it tore him apart and has changed him. Because now when you look back on that scene, at least to me when I look on it, he never wanted to kill his parents. He only did it because out of fear. What may happen to him if he did it? And he didn't even believe that he had a choice to go back, because all the things that he's done for the First Order, he believed he couldn't go back. So he loved his parents. And I believe he even loved his mother even more. I think that I think it would be a great way to show that in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I did say, how would Leia's love save him? I think this could be like a whole Vader and Luke kind of thing, where a father's love saved Luke from Palpatine, really realizing to do one last act to save his son, and that love really redeemed him in the end. Now, with the whole Leia and Ben thing, I think if they could do this, I'm not sure if they could. It'd be interesting if they could. If he did that selfless act of love to save Rey and help defeat Palpatine and help the Resistance win. And through the Force, she resurrects or even heals him, but in sacrifice of that, she gives up her life. She does the whole Luke thing and disappears. Like she is powerful enough to do a projection, just like Luke did, and using all that force power and knowing that the last time she sees her son again is him redeemed and smiling. That she could finally see her son one more time into his eyes and know that he is going to be okay and know that he is where he is meant to be. I think that would be a really touching moment, especially really going on a mother's love, because if there's any mothers listening or there's any people that have mothers, you know mother's love is unconditional. I always compare how the Jedi say unconditional love. I always compare that to a mother's love. Because it doesn't matter what you do, no, it doesn't matter what place you go down to. Your mother's love will always be there. Your mother will always see good in you. It doesn't matter what anybody else says about you. The one thing you can count on is your mother's love. Will always be there. It will never turn its back on you. So I think there's many ways that you can really show a reunion between Ben and Leia. Maybe with some editing, with some old footage, with all that. I think a lot of stuff like that could happen. And I just, for me as a Leia fan, as her being my all-time favorite female character in any kind of movie, and Ben being my favorite Star Wars character in a whole, I think having that mother and son moment, however it is, however we get that mother and son moment, I think that would be very special to not just the movie, but just in an aspect of a mother and son relationship. Yes, she did her mistakes, but in a way, she is kind of making up the wrongs that she did. Because at the end, he just wanted to be loved. Ben just wants to be loved. He just wants his mother. That's all he did. That's all he wanted. He just wanted his parents' love. He never hated. And if we could get that, soft, tender moment between Leia and Ben as mother and son, I think that would be very special in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I think that's what I have to say about the whole what Leia and Ben's relationship in the Rise of Skywalker could be. And I just think it would be very, very, very special if we can get a moment between them that it would be very important to them. Now, I could see Rey resurrecting him, or they might just do it together. The two women that he feels the most for resurrects him and saves him from death. It can also go that way as well. But I think one of the big things I want for the Rise of Skywalker, I want a Ben and Leia moment. Now, it could just be a moment like how we got in The Last Jedi about them, connecting through the Force, really showing their feeling. But however they do it, however they can edit it in or something, I really do. We hope we get one more emotional Ben and Leia moment, really showing that not mother and son kind of love that they have for each other. So one last thing I want to discuss before ending the podcast for today in this week. I want to talk about something I heard on Collider. And if you don't know, Collider does a lot of things, entertainment, and they do a show called Jedi Council. And there was a specific thing about, I think it was at least a question about, do you think BenSolo / Kylo Ren needs to die? And I believe his name is John Roca. Really disrespected a lot of people who believe BenSolo will be redeemed, and I think it was mainly women. Now, I know nothing about what the women have been going through for the last 5, 6 years, because even though I'm a Reylo, I've never experienced hate that the women have gotten. I don't understand why people would want to hate on women in Star Wars and to really try to kick them out when women in this sequel trilogy have been right all along. They know what Lucasfilm was doing even before any of us. Even before I became a Reylo fan and BenSolo's Redemption, I looked to women of Star Wars showing me this is what is happening, and it really enlightened me, saying, wow, they are really right. These women of the Star Wars community is really showing us everything that we need to know and what Lucasfilm is trying to tell us in the storytelling. And I just think it's a real shame to really troll and say nasty things about the women who just want to love Star Wars as much as anyone else. They just want to be appreciated, just want to be respected with their opinion. That's all. And I really hope, I really do, I really hope in the future of Star Wars that we can really respect other people's opinion. Either if they're right or they're wrong, or if you disagree with them. There's no reason for you to be disrespectful to them, to be dishonoring towards them, to say all these incredible mean things and disgusting names that you say to these women. It just doesn't make sense as a Star Wars fan to shun them away from this great franchise into this great message that Star Wars is. Because I think that's wrong, and as a Star Wars fan, I hope this community gets better. And if you can just, as a community, just respect other people's likes and dislikes and opinions, I think it would be a much better place for people to hang out to really enjoy. So I think my thing is respect other people's opinions. Doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman, boy, girl, doesn't matter what age they are. Just respect their opinion and treat other people how you want to be treated. And it will work out in your benefit. It will increase the Star Wars community even more. So that's just what I ask. So I think I'm gonna end the podcast there. So I like thank you for listening. And if you have any comments of what I said, give me some feedback. What do you think about the whole Ben and Leia kind of thing? What do you think the rumors of how the Rise of Skywalker might start? So just give me some comments, give me some feedback on everything that I've talked about, and I would really appreciate if you would like and maybe subscribe so you know when you get my podcast and everything like that. So I thank you for listening, and I hope you have an awesome, blessed, and fantastic week. So until next time, see you later. Bye.